Loblaw's new CEO and chairman, Galen Weston, says that criticism of the grocer is misguided as a boycott of the company gains steam online. The movement began on a Reddit page created for Canadians to complain about prices at Loblaw and the other major grocers, which now has over 66,000 members. Loblaw president and CEO Per Bank pushed back at the grocer's annual meeting, saying that the company is not responsible for higher food prices. Mr. Bank and Mr. Weston also criticized recent calls to steal from Loblaw, which the boycott organizers have said that they're not affiliated with. Loblaw reported profits grew almost 10% year over year to $459 million. Joining us now to unpack the Loblaw boycott is retail analyst Bruce Winder. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me on the program.
What do you see as the root causes of the Loblaw boycott campaign, and why Loblaw and not the other grocers?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I think some of the root causes as to what's happened with the boycott is that the global supply chain for food has been under a lot of strain over the last couple, 3 years since the pandemic. You had everything from freight cost increases, wage increases, you had supply and demand issues due to global warming. You also had some of the big brands, the big consumer packaged goods companies taking price to increase profits. You had a number of factors, the war in Ukraine, etc. A lot of these geopolitical factors and other issues have caused food prices to go up. And at the same time, it's been a bit of a perfect storm where the cost of housing has went up, interest rates have went up, rents have went up. So I think you have a certain portion of the population that's fairly angry out there. And when people are angry, they want someone to blame. And I think they've picked Loblaw. Now, why Loblaw and not Empire or Metro or Walmart or Costco? Interesting question. I don't know why. But that's kind of where we are right now. I think it's just a culmination of a number of issues, hangover from the pandemic, so to speak, economically, that's caused some of this turbulence.
So, what do you feel other boycotters hoping to achieve?
Well, I read their demands, so to speak, and I think what they're trying to achieve is a 15% cost reduction and all kinds of other things which don't make any sense. They're not realistic. I think what they have achieved is they've increased awareness to Loblaw in terms of saying, "Hey, we have a certain portion of customers," and it sounds like it's a fairly small portion, by the way. You got 60,000 people out of 40 million. And you know what? It's also raised some profile to the government as well. And I think what it's done is it's sort of got Loblaw being a little more proactive now and getting more aggressive on price in terms of trying to help Canadians. My understanding is Loblaw has about 30 items that they've recently lowered the price on by about 35%, or 30% roughly. Things like bacon and eggs and bread and milk and things like that. So the company has been pretty proactive, but I think what it's done is it's been a bit of a field day for the media
Mm.
and for sort of certain pundits around there who have sort of used this to sort of capitalize on the mood of where certain Canadians are. So, and there could even be some political things happening here too. So it's taken on a life of its own. But again, for some reason, it's only going after Loblaw, which makes no sense whatsoever.
And of course, the big question is, will this have an impact? In your opinion, is there enough steam behind this to impact Loblaw's business?
I think it's going to have a very, very, very minor impact, if any. Loblaw's announced their results. It sounds like they've got some business momentum. Their comp store sales were up, over 3%. So I think some of the measures they've taken by sharpening their prices have started to kick in. Will it have some effect? It could have a very negligible effect, but I don't think it's going to have the effect that the folks who set this up, the Reddit group folks, want it to have.
Have you seen anything like this in the past where consumers have boycotted a single business or a chain en masse? We have 30 seconds.
Not really. I mean, there's certain boycotts that come and go. A company does something in the press and everyone gets angry for a few weeks, but nothing to this degree, really.
All right. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks for having me on.